Hello and welcome back to the Argyle CIO Leadership Forum. My name is Vicki Lynn Brunsko with Argyle. It's great to have everyone joining us today. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during the event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience today. At any time during the event, you can visit those virtual booths from the main agenda page. To ask questions throughout this session and all sessions, simply type into the Q&A chat and we will address your questions at the end of the session. Also, be sure to subscribe to Argyle on YouTube for exclusive access to all of our past events. And now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Malith Jaya Singha, Vice President, Research and AI at WSO2. We are so excited to have Malith with us for a thought leadership presentation titled Building Scalable and Secure AI Applications, Challenges and Solutions. Welcome, Malith, over to you.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here to be delivering this talk in this uh, CIO Leadership Forum. So I'll be talking about building scalable and secure applications, challenges, and solutions. So I want to start off with this use case which we implemented several years ago, and then take you through how we did it back then, and then how we do it the same use case now. So what we were doing was we were building this integration tool. WSO2 is one of the core businesses is integration. Building this tool where the developers, so in this case, low-code developers can come and build. So they were using visual components to build this. So what we wanted to do here was to see if you can, sort of give suggestions on this visual tool. What might be the next, possible element. So how did we go about doing this? So this was actually very, time-consuming, resource-intensive process. We had to start with the data set. So in this case, it was the ballerina programs. So the underlining representation of this visual integrator was the ballerina programs. Ballerina was a programming language that is designed by WSO2, specifically targeting developing integrations. So we had to collect this data set. So we had various sources. We got data sets from the internet, the GitHub repos, and so on. So what did we have to do next? Then we had to go and pre-process this data. That would include creating ASTs. AST is the abstract syntax tree. So this is like a tree-like representation of these ballerina programs. Then we had to further pre-process these ASTs, that is to match it to the visual level abstraction, because that had a higher level abstraction than these ballerina programs themselves. It didn't end there. Then we had to go and annotate this data, because our intention is to train a model. So we had to have a labeled we had to have this labeled data set. Annotation here is the sequence of elements up to the current element and the next element, right? Then we had to train this. We trained set of models, and then we evaluated the accuracy. And then this process we have to do fine tune it many times, which involved collecting more data and doing pre-processing in different ways and so on. So what has happened today is that with the advent of large language, with the advent of these foundational models, pre-trained models, AI app development has accelerated significantly, right? So for large number of applications, this model, specialized model training, data collection, data pre-processing has gone away. So today we have the same experience in one of our editors. This is called Ballerina Integrator. Still experience where as the developer builds the integration, we do suggestions on the low code view or the graphical view. So the way we do that is just by making an LLM call and then giving it the right context. So in this case, it is the information about this program that they are building. So of course there's no pre-processing, labeling, training, all that is now gone. But we have a problem. So what is the problem now? So as you can see, we can build prototypes or POCs locally, and you can connect them with LLM APIs, build agents that will connect to tools, build retrieval augmented systems. But the issue is, though, when you try to scale them or when you try to take it to production, you face various challenges. 74% of projects, AI projects, actually, in fact, don't make it to production. This is coming from the IBM Investor Day 2025 report. So we have to ask the question why this is the case. So actually, there are multiple reasons behind this. It's not one reason. One main reason is the complexity in the integration itself. You'll have to integrate with various systems to build it. So there are various challenges associated with these integrations. Then the evaluation of these systems, making them accurate, tracking the accuracy. Then you have the security and governance related challenges. Then the other one is the monitoring these AI apps and managing the life cycle of these AI apps. So for the most part, as you can see, these are software engineering challenges as opposed to AI specific challenges, right? So to deal with these problems, what we need is a new set of capabilities and abstractions in our platforms and tools in order to handle these. You have those capabilities, then the developers don't have to build them themselves. They can just use them and take their prototype app to production fast and securely. So I want to sort of give a overview of what it means to build an AI app and take it to production. So what are the core parts of this, right? So we have to start with building our AI piece or AI component, right? So this may be building an agent or a RAG or whatever, any combination of these components, right? So you have to first code it, and then you'll have to evaluate it, right? That is making sure it's performing as expected. I'll talk about the evaluation later. And then you'll have to deploy it to some platform where it will run, and your AI workloads will get scaled and so on, right? So also the another part of this building AI apps is AI app itself doesn't add any value, so you have to integrate it with the larger system. So that's why I have this integrate step. Another important aspect of it is the authentication and authorization, especially when you have these AI components such as AI agents accessing various external systems, tools. You have to get the consent from the users before you can go and access these tools. So that's another set of challenges that you have to solve. Then when it's in production, you'll have to monitor it, manage it, and you have to do rate limiting, usage tracking, and you need new capabilities to deal with these challenges. Right. So I want to drill down a bit more and take you through those steps using another use case. So this is something that we did very recently. We WSO2 had we hosted our WSO2 conference recently in Spain, Barcelona. So we had a mobile app which we developed last year, right? It was a very basic app. So what we used to have is we had this registration form where people come and register. That was on our website. And then once they register, we'll go and collect that data and put it into some database. So you can see the registration form, and then you have a registration service that handles it. And then you store that data. Then the mobile app, by the way, I got some screenshots of then you can see it there. And then the mobile app gives the ability to see what sessions are happening, who's speaking, which room these sessions are happening, and all that. So this is what we used to have. And then we wanted to make this a bit more interesting by introducing certain AI features. Now there are several features. This intention is not to present this app here. I just want to present some concepts and what we did. For example, we want to add an assistant there where people can ask questions about this conference in natural language. Another capability or that we want to add was session advisor, because this conference has had a lot of talks, panel discussion, all that. So based on the personal profile of you, we were trying to build a personal assistant, right? So that's one of the things that we wanted to introduce. And also based on your profile, can we find people who have similar expertise and experience, and how can we connect them together? So like that, there were various new capabilities that we wanted to introduce to this mobile app. So I've got some screenshots here. So on the left hand side, you can see a screenshot of the mobile app. So earlier we had the full agenda, and so then we introduced this new one, which is picked for you. So that's the agenda, which is based on your uh, personal, your profile. So that will suggest, like, you should attend these sessions, right? So on the right hand side, we have a chat assistant where you can ask questions about this conference. So this is what we sort of wanted to do. So how do you go about building something like that? And then looking at what I have explained earlier, the main core parts of what it takes to build an AI app and take it to production. Now, one important thing, of course, is you have to first find the tool. You have to develop it, you have to code it. So here, so there are, you have to make a decision on these tools. So this depends on your personal preference, and the organization may have certain set of tools that they use, right? So these days there is a lot of low code stuff happening, and people are trying to use low code to build AI apps. That's one of the options. And then some people don't like low code, so then you go with the pro code. You write code, right? Also, like for example, WSO2, we did a lot of integration uh, developers, right? So when they build these AI apps, they want to use the AI integration tools to introduce AI capabilities into their enterprise. They don't want to use Python and so on, right? And you may be an AI person, AI expert. In that case, then you will build the AI components in Python, or frameworks that are built on top of Python, such as Crew AI. But what we are seeing more and more is that these problems are now becoming very much connecting systems together. If you have seen, I'll show you the architecture diagram for this. To build these agents, you have to connect to tools, connect with LLMs, connect with large language models, connect with other Gen AI APIs. So there are certain that you get if you use integration tools, because then various challenges that you will face when you try to integrate them, integration tools have the capabilities to deal with those challenges, right? Right. So, and another important aspect of it is identify the patterns that you need to implement, right? So there are multiple patterns, but three core patterns that we are seeing, these days most of the time is have a scenario where you have some AI app which is directly connecting to a Gen AI model, which is the most simplest integration. And then we have the RAG pattern, where you retrieve the data from an external knowledge base and you ground the LLM with accurate information. So that would make sure that LLM has the most up-to-date, and or that can be some private data that you have. And the other pattern, which is the most talked about pattern, is the agents, where agents will reason and act, and they will interact with tools, right? Then any combination of uh, uh, any combinations of any combination of these patterns that we have to use, that we can use to build AI apps. So one important thing here is that uh, uh, thing here is that so even here you have to make certain decisions, right? So when you're integrating with the model, you need to decide which model. There's an accuracy aspect, you'll have to evaluate it. And if you're using rags, then you have a knowledge base, right? Then how do you chunk the data, and then which knowledge base, which retrieval system to use? For example, there's vector databases like Pinecone, Chroma. These vector databases have different characteristics when it comes to scaling aspects as well. So if you then talk about agents, first of all, you have to ask the question, do you need an agent or not? So we had scenarios try to use agents, but there's no need to actually have an agent. You can just programmatically do that, right? And if when you're using agents, you have to connect the agents with tools, right? Then do you have to build these tools yourself, or can you use existing tools? So there are various things that you need to be careful at this phase, and then decide how to move forward, right? Let's go to the next slide. Right, so this is one of the agents that we built as a part of this exercise of bringing this personalized experiences into this mobile app, right? So what this agent does is it will create a personal profile of a person uh, and store it in a knowledge base. So as you can see, there's an LLM which is used for the agent to reason, and there's a knowledge base that is where you put the the personal profile information. And there are two tools we are using here. First one is the surfer tool, which will basically do a Google search, and it will return set of links, and then the web scraper tool will go and scrape the content, right? So once that's done, the agent will go and store this data in the knowledge base, so that the other AI components can use it to give that personal experience. So when you build the personal agenda, you will take the information from this knowledge base. By the way, you'll have to get the consent for this, even if it is searching the public data on the internet. So we have had that implemented. Uh, right. So next, once it's done and once you build the agents, you have to evaluate these agents, right? So this is a key part of uh, building AI apps. So evaluation doesn't mean just the accuracy. It is, the consistency, making sure that it returns the same results, that there is no bias, also latency related issues, right? So if the latency is high, there are various things that you can do to address them. Use caching, or you can handle it at the UI layer, like the user doesn't get frustrated. Maybe you can show some partial results and so on. So there are well-known tools and metrics now that are coming up. Like several years ago, these were not there, but now this is now becoming. There's a lot of things happening in this domain. For example, this Raga metrics. It's a well-known set of metrics for evaluating um, RAG applications. Then also, depending on the pattern that you are evaluating, you will have to do it differently. Like if it's an agent, there are multiple things that you need to evaluate. What is the path that it has taken? There can be multiple possibilities. Then for the agent, you'll have to check the individual steps, right? What is the input and output? Then also the final response. And the evaluation, in fact, starts with defining set of metrics and prepare your data set, and then you run test, and then you analyze it, and then you improve. So this is a core part of evaluation, right? So evaluation, in fact, can happen both development time, and there is also you can do it while in production as well. Now, other key thing is to have all of these automated, which we have in fact done with our AI features. And you have to integrate this one with your CI/CD pipeline. So even if you do a slight modification to a prompt, for example, you can check your metrics, and if they have gone down, if you have gone down to you know, below certain levels, then you won't let that PR to be merged. Okay, so the next step is to deploy this into the platform, right? So this can be a platform that will scale your app, then it will let you monitor workloads, manage secrets, and so on. So we are talking about the scenario where you build it and then push it to the platform, but there is also other scenario where you can do everything within the platform itself, right? So there are two cases, right? And the next core thing is the integration. Now, so what we've shown you is the personalized agent, right? So agent itself doesn't help. So then you'll have to integrate it with your larger application. So in this case, we are integrating it with the registration flow. Remember, we had the registration flow where the users can come and register. So, and it went and stored some data in the SQL database. Now we integrate the agent into that flow. So when the user registers, it then goes ahead and start the agent as well. Then the agent will go and build this profile, right? So another important aspect of this is the authentication and authorization, how to do that, which is a very important problem to solve. For example, when for some interactions, for example, like these two APIs, now you can provide the tokens at the design time. You can put the API key, but if you have, for example, let's say this agent needs to talk to LinkedIn, right? Then that one you can't get the token uh, at the design time. So you have to have a redirection. You have to get the user's consent and then go to LinkedIn side and then get the token and then go and access LinkedIn profile and build this profile, right? So what's happening is that these capabilities to support these sort of interactions are being introduced into IAM products, and they treat IAM products treat AI agents as first class concepts. So this is now happening, and then you can have fine grained control over these sort of interactions. So this is what we used to have. This is what we have now. As you can see, you had this small app which had few integrations, and now we have this AI app with all these AI components. Personalized agency is the only one that I have explained, but there are other components to provide that user experience. So one thing I haven't explained is as you can see, these AI apps actually consume these uh, LLMs or Gen AI APIs, right? So you have to manage those connections. So this is where the AI API management comes into the picture, right? So you have to govern that traffic, you have to monitor the token usage, put guardrails, you have to make sure that no PIs are getting into the models and so on, right? So AI gateway plays a very important role here. They can do sanitizing PIIs, staying the budget, and various other functionalities, right? Okay, so that is about building an AI app, right? Now there's also another aspect. So those are the abstractions and capabilities needed to build an app and take it to production. But then the developer productivity is also important, which is a different aspect, which I'm not going to talk about that today. But what's happening is that co-pilots are being introduced into the software development lifecycle for each phase, right, to improve the developer productivity. So these two things has to evolve together so that people can be more productive, right? So let me try to conclude. So what we are seeing is like back in the days, long time ago, people spend a lot of time building models before even they can build a prototype. Now you can build a prototype, but you face challenges when you try to take it to production, right? Which is what we discussed in this talk. These are integration challenges, security related challenges, governance, monitoring, and all that. So we need the abstractions and capabilities to deal with these problems in your tool set and in your platforms, right? So that you can build applications, prototype, and take them to production faster. Right. So I think that would be it with my presentation. So I think we have some uh, questions here. How can AI observability be improved to track the performance, detect anomalies, and maintain system reliability? Yes. So AI observability is, in fact, can be part of the AI gateway, which is what I have, described uh, before. So if I go back to this slide, so various anomaly detection, capable can be implemented within the AI gateway itself to detect these anomalous patterns. What are the biggest challenges in integrating AI agents with the existing enterprise systems and workflows? So there are multiple challenges. Actually, this talk is about that. So one challenge is what I was trying to uh, explain in here on this slide. This is the authentication and authorization part, where when the agents access these external APIs and tools on behalf of the users, how do we solve that problem? So this is a problem that we are also working on, because you have to have fine grained control over what the agents can do and cannot do. So that is one of the main challenges. And the other challenge is also, in relation to the evaluation of agents, which I have mentioned on this slide over here. So evaluation of rags is relatively straightforward, but when it comes to agents, it gets tricky, because you'll have to evaluate multiple aspects, and there are cases where when it comes to the path that the agent travels or goes through, there can be multiple possibilities, right? So and then coming up with these possibilities and automating all that is another challenge, right? I think that would be it, uh, Alicia.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Believe. What a great thought leadership presentation. See the audience had lots of questions. I want to thank everyone else for joining us today for this session, and to let you know that this session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. And as a reminder, please do check out the prizes and raffle rules section to see how you can earn points to win a prize. Our next session will begin at 1:15 p.m. after a very short break, which will be a keynote presentation titled Future Proofing Cloud Strategy, Maximizing ROI and Security in a Hybrid Cloud Environment. Please click the join button that will appear on your screen to be directed to that session, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you again, Malise.
Thank you.